Division leadership team. I guess we refer to it in-house as DLT. That has the division-wide coaches, the division leadership, school administrators, teacher leaders. Earlier this week we met, and I think that there were close to 20 people within that whole leadership team. So there's a lot of people, it's a very diverse setting. So you have all of the relevant stakeholders at the table when they need to be. Beyond that, you've got subcommittees, you have school leadership teams, and then you have the advanced tiers teams. So none of your tiers or interventions are made, the decisions are made in isolation. Those are all made with teams of people, and really ends up being comprised of just about everyone in the school when it's all said and done. As an example, you can see how robust really when you're getting into the planning of VTSS really is. Just the flow chart, the organizational chart, just in itself, you can tell this isn't anywhere near all of our employees. This is really just the people that are on the planning end, who are also getting the information from the other people that aren't involved in the planning. So really it goes straight from Mr. Tillett down to just about anyone and everyone in the school division that works with students. So truly, we want to see an improvement all the way around. Bus drivers even, we have plans in the buses so that kids can, really behavior is what you want to improve there, but so you can try to get the improved behavior there as well. Where we're at in implementation. So all schools are currently implementing MTSS. Basically, MTSS is the multi-tiered systems of support. So we are implementing the multi-tiered systems of support through Virginia tiered systems of support. Okay, so we're essentially, the VTSS is the vehicle to implement the MTSS within the schools. The phased implementation began with the grant in grades K through 5 when the grant began. The elementary school and the primary school are currently installing the advanced tiers, while the middle school and the high school have started training and exploring with the advanced tiers. Timeframes for implementation for K-5, you typically see 3 to 5 years. Usually anything with a lasting change for when you're looking at a school, it's going to be a 3 to 5 year time period. And a typical time frame for secondary schools is 6 to 8 years. Sometimes with the older ones, it can be a little bit more difficult. But again, once you have a system where everyone knows the common language and everyone is coming up within that system, that's when you see the lasting change. Samples of Tier 1 interventions, and again, I'll remind you, these are school-based interventions that everyone's going to see. I'll throw a couple out there. I think that anyone who's had a child here in this community knows about the bucket fillers at the primary school. At the elementary school, they have really, over the last few years, started doing a lot of the positive office referrals. It's kind of neat to hear, rather than getting the message of having an issue at school, whether it be a student issue or anything like that, you hear about the positive referrals that are coming to the office. And having been a principal for a long time, sometimes parents really appreciate that call, and it's a good thing to do. At the middle school, the Golden Bull of the Month, I think that's one that everyone should know. And at the high school, one of the things that they've started doing is sending positive postcards home. Speaking from experience, I know with one of my children, he kept a postcard that he was sent in elementary school from one of his teachers for many, many years. It was a really nice thing. So beyond that, you're getting into the more advanced systems. So when you're looking at the more advanced systems, you're looking at Tier 2 and Tier 3. And again, those are a lot more targeted, 3 more so than 2. You're doing a lot of more individualized work or more specific prescribed work to try to get improvement from kids. The pandemic did redirect our actions somewhat with VTSS, and we had to kind of shift exactly what we were doing. At this point, we're back on track, and I think that, minus I'll say a couple of years of the pandemic, we probably would be even a lot further than we are. But our teams had to redirect the focus to meet what situation that we had in the immediate and really look at the data and adjust our actions and our plans so we could continue implementation. And because we did that, we have been able to continue going, and there's been continuity of what we're planning and how we've been going through that. Communication with stakeholders. So surveys will be coming out to families regarding preferences this winter. Additionally, a staff survey talking about the implementation will come out to the staff members this winter as well. VTSS information is embedded in the school-based newsletters that come home. We see those as well. I think all the principals now send them to just about everyone. They do a lot better job with that than I did. Only my people got mine. And then we're to update the board twice a year. It's one of the things that we're supposed to do, and we felt like it was necessary to go back a little bit and give a little bit of the historic standpoint, because some of you are new or newer. In May, we will have an end of the year outcomes report where we'll report on the entire 5 years of the grant and what we've accomplished and what we've been able to do. And that's the end of the instructional side regarding VTSS. If you have any questions, I'll take those before I move on to the other side.
I have one question.
Yes.
Can you talk about how does the system deal with any like possible turnover? So I mean, you have the flow chart, and sometimes you want to make sure not all the expertise is lying with one person and they leave, and so somebody pick up and take where they take it and run with it.
Well, that's where it's essential that you train the new people coming in. So you have the organizational chart, and I think the bottom was termed as the people on the ground. So essentially what you're doing as you're integrating and acclimating new staff members and they're becoming more ingrained in the system, those people move up and they're replaced. I mean, certainly the what you see now aren't the same people that we began with when the grant began. So I think that we see all the way around, it's important not just to have one-offs in just about all of our positions. So I think that we have become very intentional about making sure there are multiple people that can do multiple jobs, and within a small division you have to do that anyway. But I think it starts with the beginning when teachers come in and getting the appropriate training and getting them acclimated the right way.
Thanks.
Okay, moving on to operations. This is a pretty quick one. I really just wanted to give a review, and the one thing that I did not put on here, and I'll start with that. With the middle school, the gym has been cleaned. That was a little bit more arduous process than we thought it was going to be. And as of this afternoon, we've heard they're actually going to be doing the floors beginning tomorrow. So I would say we'll probably be off the floors the rest of the week, and then beginning the week, we'll be good to be back on the floor. So at that point, the gym will be back in full use. They actually, once the cleaning finished, they went ahead and we've been using it both for classes. I think the high school was practicing there, and I believe that Parks and Rec has started there. If they haven't, they are getting ready to. So we've really just, the floor is the last piece really to kind of get it going. The HVAC at PPS, right now we're in the design phase, and we've actually this past week had several different meetings and looking at the existing systems and trying to figure out exactly what we were going to be able to do to get the best money or the best design for $1. And what we're looking at is a combination of replace, repair, and redesign. It is a very cumbersome and outdated system, but not all pieces in it are bad. So what is not bad, we're still going to use, and we're looking at really going with options that's going to give us the most time and most usage out of the redesign of it. The roof at the primary school is also on the top of the list. We've had a roof evaluation taking place. They've gone through and done the infrared scans. Right now, what he's doing is he's going through and essentially drawing the plans to what we will be looking at, and we're going to be looking at more of an air ventilated type of a system that will go on the roof. There's a few positives to this, is that's typically a cheaper roof. Places that are bad for moisture, are bad for humidity, there's a constant airflow, so it does help to fight off the moisture and the humidity. And the one really positive thing about this is this type of roof can actually be put on with people in the building. So our hopes are that we can, somewhere around the spring, actually begin this process and target, hopefully by the end of the year, if we're able to get that done, then the HVAC this coming summer, and then that will alleviate most all of the issues that we've been running into at the primary school. The last thing I wanted to note was talking a little bit about buses and the ridership counts. So what ridership counts are, that's the average number of kids that ride the buses. And obviously you can see the decline from the pandemic year, but if you look at where we're at now, the numbers are growing again. And I would dare say, we only do this in October of each year, but I would dare say if we did it again in another few months, our count would probably be higher than it is. I was honestly really pleased with this number. I mean, that's over half the kids in the division that we have riding a bus, and if you just watch all the buses deliver and take home, you don't think you have that many actually riding the bus, but we do deliver more than you think. So, and that's all I have for operations. If you have any questions, I can answer those.
Yeah, I have one. As far as the HVAC plan, the repair, replace, and redesign, is there a guaranteed longevity to that, or y'all gotten into that piece yet?
Well, that was a good bit of the discussion, actually. So I guess without getting too far in the weeds of it, it is a 3-pipe water-based system. It's kind of a hybrid of a heat and cool. It's meant to be able to run heat and cool at the same time. And that's a big part of the problems you have, is all the piping is steel. All the piping is corroded right now, so you have water leaching, and then you have a makeup air unit that isn't functioning properly, which is shooting humidity in the roof as well as the water leaching. If you go to an air-to-air system, a traditional system like you would put in your house, you have a lifespan of like a heat pump you would put in your house, which is about 15 years. If you stay with a water-based system, you're going to get more life out of it, and it's more for, I guess, a commercial type of a use. So we are hoping to continue to repurpose the boiler and the chiller that we have. We have not had problems out of them, but changing everything over to a 2-pipe system with polypipe. And that will take care of the leaching water that we have, and then that will give us the maximum life that we can get out of an HVAC system in this setting.
Thank you.
A couple quick points on that. If you'll remember, we we had an audit to that system and found out there was really 2 options. One was this option, which was going to be kind of combining several components to get around 15 to 20 years of moving forward. The other option was almost $5 million, a little over $4.5 million, and just a little far out of reach for our short-term planning. And so between our work with the city and this board a year and a half ago, it was decided to go with the less expensive, and it has been fully funded. So we're at about $2.5 million in this project, and we're pretty confident we're going to get on the upper end of that lifespan, which will last us and serve our needs for some time to come.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Radliff. Ms. Kaysen, I saw you grinning ear to ear, so I know you and your students cannot wait for this, and we're excited for y'all too. Next, we have Ms. Woodruff with her finance update, please.
Good evening, Chair Helsel and members of the school board. Tonight it's time for us to look forward to the budget, so I'm going to review the budget calendar, which you should have all received a copy of for the FY24 budget process. So our budget process begins with our staff input, and last week we sent forms to our principals and directors to have them submit any budget requests. and those submissions will be due on December 1st. Throughout the budget process, we also meet with our benefits committee on any benefit changes. Also, in January, we will ask for our employees to complete intent forms for their next year's employment plans. We do anticipate that the governor's budget proposal will be released on December 15th. However, as I mention every year, the calc tool doesn't come out then. We get that shortly thereafter. Sometimes it's in December, sometimes it's not quite until early January before we get that information. On January 11th, the General Assembly session convenes. FY24 is the second year of the biennium, so it will be the shorter session, which should end around February 25th. The state economy right now is very strong, so in-state revenues have been coming in over projections, so this is really good news heading into the budget process. At the January 17th work session, Mr. Tillett will present a budget update based on the governor's budget proposal. On February 21st, Mr. Tillett will present the proposed budget at the school board work session, and there will be a public hearing on the proposed budget at the March 21st meeting. The school board can consider approval at that meeting. If not, a special meeting would need to be called so that way we can get the budget to the city by the end of March. April 24th is a tentative date for a joint meeting between the school board and city council for the budget discussion. And throughout the process, there's multiple opportunities for the community to provide input on the budget. The superintendent seeks faculty and staff input. Parents and community members are encouraged to attend the public hearing on March 21st. Input can also be provided through Let's Talk, which can be accessed through the PCPS website. And additionally, you may contact the superintendent by calling or sending an email. And that concludes my report.
Actually, I have a question. If you don't mind, go back to your last slide.
Sure.
I just want to say to folks listening in, we really want your comment, your feedback. For the first line, the superintendent seeks input from faculty and staff, we really want your input. Athletics, activities, pottery, all the different classes, give us your input. We want to make sure that we get the budget as nailed down as we can, and we need to know your needs. Ms. McKay, is there any public comment tonight?
No, ma'am.
Thank you, and I will have Ms. Everett walk us through the consent agenda.
First item will be approval of financial reports, closed in your packet, authorization to change appropriation and to accept and expend funds in accordance with the attached request, that's also enclosed, approval of personnel action, enclosed, and approval of minutes for the October's regular meeting and closed session.
Very much. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as read.
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. Any comment? Okay, if not, Ms. McKay, would you call for the vote, please?
Mr. Ingram,
Aye.
Dr. Goodale,
Aye.
Mr. Childress,
Aye.
Ms. Martin. Aye. Ms. Everett,
Aye.
Vice Chair Freeman,
Aye.
Chair Helsel.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you very much. Next is other matters for consideration. It's consideration of approval of superintendent's request to city council for use of carryover funds. Mr. Tillett.
Yeah, this is something I'm very excited about. I know you guys have read the packet, and I hope you're equally excited. We have an opportunity again this year with some carryover funds that we will send immediately after this meeting to the city to reappropriate those funds in conjunction with a pot of money that's earmarked from the state to be able to provide bonuses this year. What we're hearing around the region and the state is that money allocated from the state equates for the formula to do about $1,000 bonus. We are requesting, in addition with our carryover funding, to double that for our employees here in Poquoson, to use that both as a retention bonus and a recruiting bonus. So we're always trying to set ourselves apart a bit as we can to make Poquoson the place. And so this is far from everything, but it is a help. And so we certainly hope you guys will support that in your vote tonight as we send these requests to the city. You may have noticed or heard, if you watched the city's council meeting last night, they approved a similar bonus for city employees, which I think is wonderful as well. So a vote in the right direction. So thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Till. It's definitely exciting. Would anyone like to make a motion for this?
I'll move to approve the superintendent's request to the city council to use the carryover funds equaling $2,000 bonus for the employees.
Everett?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Childress. Any comments or questions? All right, Ms. McKay, would you call for the vote, please?
Mr. Ingram,
Aye.
Dr. Goodale,
Aye.
Mr. Childress,
Aye.
Ms. Martin,
Aye.
Ms. Everett,
Aye.
Vice Chair Freeman,
Aye.
Chair Helsel.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. All right, next one is communications and/or other matters by school board and/or superintendent. And I'm going to start with Mr. Tillett and just say, I'm knocking on wood that it was nice to not have a COVID update with our regular recognitions. But
Maybe I need to do a flu update.
kind of want to, yeah, RSV something, but
We are, it is good to not be talking COVID, as our, first 9 weeks ends. We do have sickness in the air. It's going around all over. A board member called me today to just double check, make sure we are doing the extraordinary cleaning that we were doing during the pandemic, and we are. As you all recall, we contracted with a new company for this school year for our custodial needs, and we're very, very pleased with their work. They use a different product, a different process for cleaning, one that they've been using for some time, and are very thorough. And the buildings, I'm in them every week, and I've found their work there and the cleaning to be extraordinary. So we're very pleased with their work. There is a lot of mess going around, so we're seeing the same thing that they're seeing around the state and the country, but we are monitoring those numbers closely. We are cleaning in all the extraordinary ways, and we are hoping to get through this flu season without too much interruption. So a shout out also to our staff for all their work in keeping our kiddos healthy. I do want to thank a few folks. One, I'd like to thank every time I get an opportunity in public, I thank the Poquoson Education Foundation. I brag on them everywhere I go, that the work that they do is amazing. They are a well-oiled machine of folks that work very hard to help support our schools. And it was a pleasure to walk around with Judy McCormick and Mary Earl Stallings and Janet Harper last week as they distributed almost $10,000 of classroom grants to our teachers. This totals over $240,000 since 2010 that the PEF have given directly to the classroom at the request of our teachers, which is nothing short of amazing. They have almost that same amount they've given out in scholarships to our students going off to college or trade schools or continuing their ed after their education after high school. So we're very thankful to their work, and I just want to give them another shout out. I know the Run for the Bulls was a big success as well. Great to see all the folks turn out for that. Also want to thank, again, Dr. Ratliff and our instructional team. As you know, they've been doing double duty. And that includes Lauren Gray and Kelly Purdy and Kim Montalvo. They work as a team and are keeping the instructional ship sailing in the absence of an assistant superintendent for instruction. And they've been doing that for some time. You can do that for a little while, but this is dragging on. So we'll be in our closed session tonight giving you an update personnel-wise of where we are with that process. But I just want to thank them publicly for all their hard work. They're working as a supernatural team. It's been amazing to work alongside them during this time. Also want to shout out, I know that Lexi will probably do the same thing, and I know I won't steal her thunder, but very proud of the success of our fall athletic teams. They just keep amazing us year after year, but our Field hockey team, of course, a runner-up from state champs again this year. Volleyball was supposed to be playing tonight in Rockingham, and due to weather out there, they'll be playing for the state semifinals tomorrow evening. And football's still alive in the playoffs, going to play Thomas Jefferson Friday night. Cross country had a great season. And I want to give also a special shout out to the theater company, Poquoson High School Theater Company, who won regional one-act championship last weekend. And the Best Actor Awards went to Brooke Martin and Sammy Ramirez. So just a shout out to these young people who have continued to excel and make us all proud. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tillett. All right, Lexi, it's all you.
All right, I'm sure you all are aware by now. I'll start off with the primary school. At PPS this month, we are moving forward with awesome learning in all grade levels. IPOP continues to work on letters, numbers, and colors and are preparing for the annual Hoedown Sing-Along. Kindergarten has just read The Little Scarecrow Boy and has added vocabulary words to their list, such as fierce, terrible, and drooping. They are sorting, grouping, counting, and writing numbers for sets of 1 through 10 objects and comparing our past to our present. First grade is working on ordinal numbers and math and celebrated Veterans Day last week with stories and made cards for our veterans. They finished the book Matthew and Tilly as their read aloud this week, which focuses on being a good friend to others. Second grade read about the pumpkin life cycle, focusing on text features and main idea. In math, they are learning to differentiate between even and odd numbers in science, and in science, the difference between living and non-living things. All students are being reminded of the school expectations of being safe, respectful, and responsible, and are working hard to earn both individual bucket filler badges and golden bulls as a class. The Golden Bulls have just begun this quarter, and classrooms are working to meet the school-wide expectations as a whole class. As others in the building see them doing so, they are awarded a Golden Bull. Golden Bulls are collected and can earn additional class awards such as PJ Day, Extra Recess, or Game Day. We are holding our Fall into Reading Day tomorrow, November 16th, and student staff will be cuddling up with books all morning long. Remember, it is a half day. And we will be wearing our PJs, and our PPS PTO will be providing a free book to every student with our Bag It Books distribution program. Our PTO is also engaging families in a fun night of bingo Thursday evening, November 17th, from 6 to 8 p.m. in our cafeteria. Please come to join the fun. We want to thank all of our parents who have signed up in the classroom to be reading buddy or mystery readers. The kids love this treat of being read to somebody other than their teacher. We even have a therapy dog who visits a couple of classrooms with his reader adult. If you'd like to volunteer your time, please contact your child's teacher. Now the elementary school. The month of November has been very exciting for PES. Last week we had a very successful Veterans Day celebration with about 100 students and military parents attending. Guests were served a light breakfast, and then the ceremony included a Pledge of Allegiance, the brass ensemble from the PHS playing the national anthem, and then a group of students reading patriotic quotes about the military support of our country. We've had a total of 100 positive office referrals given out to the students this year by their teachers. All of our classes have 50 bull bucks, and 4 classes have 100 bull bucks. Classes earn bull bucks for being respectful, responsible, and resourceful and at the different levels of how they can earn, classes get to select a celebration. 4th grade went to Jamestown and toured the archaeological site at the old fort. The day was a huge success. And now the middle school. We continue to make exciting progress at Poquoson Middle School. Our students are back in the gym, and we are looking forward to the floors being done this week. Elections for the Student Council Association officers were held last week, and we are now gearing up to elect homeroom representatives. Our media center is now fully furnished, and we are excited to be hosting the PMS Scholastic Book Fair in the space this week. The Book Fair Family Night is Thursday evening in the PMS Media Center. We hope to see all of our families there. Poquoson Middle School was awarded $1,870 in grants from the Poquoson Education Foundation. Their support is truly appreciated, and it makes such a difference. PMS is proud to announce that 11 of our students were selected for a District 8 Middle School Chorus. PMS would also like to congratulate the November Golden Bulls of the Month, Abby Rook for 6th grade, Gina Felipe for 7th, and Kimura Smith for 8th grade. Last but not least, the high school. October and November have been an excellent month for PHS. Academically, we have had astronomy class on campus watching the lunar eclipse, botany and culinary classes continuing to partner to grow and cook vegetables, IT fundamental courses flying drones, pottery classes making their first pieces of art with clay, and Miss Easter's class continues with their recycling program, field trips to multiple locations, and many projects being conducted throughout the building. Our athletic program and student activities have also continued to find success. Our band received an excellent rating and assessment. We have 23 students who scored high enough to be chosen for an all-district chorus delegate at the all-district auditions. Our drama one-act production won our regional competition and will be competing for the state championship in December. Our competition cheer team made it to states and gave a great performance. Poquoson Sailing ended their fall this season at the Virginia Fleet Race Championships this past weekend. 20 teams competed, and PHS ranked the highest out of all public schools in Virginia, beating 3 nearby rival schools. Football continues their regional playoff journey this Friday at Thomas Jefferson High School with a win over Nandua last week. Our cross-country team also advanced to state competition and did well this weekend, finishing with the boys' team finishing 5th place overall. Volleyball also continues their playoff journey to seek a chance in the state championship to win against East Rockingham High School. This is scheduled from tonight to Wednesday, November 16th, tomorrow, due to winter weather advisory. And last but not least, congratulations to our field hockey team, who was the 2022 state runner-up. They made an outstanding playoff run. Good job. The Poquoson High School is also continuing a tradition of excellence both academically and within student activities. We are proud of our students and staff and work hard to make our school one of the best schools in the state. Our parents, community members, and community organizations continue to support us, and we are very grateful. A special thanks to Poquoson Education Foundation for the generous grant they presented to Ms. Yarbrough this week. And we would also like to thank our PTO for all they do and the special treats and meals they provide with us. As always, check the latest edition of the Island Times. And I would like to personally add a shout out to Brooke Martin and Sammy Ramirez for their winning of the Best Actor Award. And then it was just announced today that Tyra Weems was awarded the Region 2A Volleyball Player of the Year. And also Patrick Nelson got 3rd place at the state championship this weekend for cross country. Thank you.
Thank you, Lexi. Mr. Ingram?
Yeah, I just want to congratulate Ms. Schwartzbar for being Senior of the Month, and just the award. You know, it's awesome. You know, being associated with a school district where all the schools receive the military award. Want to thank one of our own, Jeremy Jordan, and his wife for donating a dryer. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Dr. Goodell?
Also like to congratulate Emily on all her hard work and her accolades. Also want to thank Artie and the City Council for really trying to push those bonuses through. I think that's important to assist our teachers and for that retention recruitment process. All the fall teams wrapping up and all the winter teams gearing up. Always that Poquoson success on the athletic fields is something to be proud of, and just wishing all the Poquoson families a happy Thanksgiving and enjoy the festivities with Christmas and everything else that's going on. It's always fun to get that last gathering in before it gets to be really cold in January and February.
Thank you, Mr. Childress.
Same thing, I'd like to congratulate Emily for her Senior of the Month, and thank the counselors and the school psychologists for all they do. They really do take care of our kids and parents and teachers. Sometimes you guys are the counselors too, so thank you guys too. You guys in the classroom are doing the same thing for these students, and it is appreciated. And I'd like to congratulate all the school sports. It shows the hard work from these kids, and the acting and everything else pays off.
Thank you. Ms. Martin?
Would like to say congratulations to Emily and the school counselors on the Purple Star Award. It's impressive as a system to do that, so congratulations to them and the people that support them, because they can't do it alone, and we know that. Lexi, congratulations to you and the field hockey team. I know that was a fun experience, and runner-up is awesome at the state level, so. Congratulations on that, and to the rest of the athletes, good luck in the rest of your endeavors. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to Miss Bunting. I have 3 kids at the middle school right now, and it's rock solid, man. They're having a great time, and it's going really well, and that's a testament to your leadership, so thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Everett?
I'd like to echo everything everyone else has said, especially Miss Boss. She's a really good kid. I can remember her back in middle school. PEF, just outstanding for our school system. Mr. Tillett, your work on getting those bonuses for these employees, I know for a fact is appreciated immensely. And I want to wish everyone a safe and happy Thanksgiving. And that's about it.
Thank you. Mr. Freeman?
I'd just like to congratulate all our fall sports teams on, representing the city well themselves, and just happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thanks. Okay, so I'm going to go in a different direction. While I agree with every single thing that everybody said tonight, I just want to give a public service announcement to our community and our parents, because I know we are in the position that we've had several teams go to states, which is amazing, and it's a testament to the athletics that we have in our city. We had the same issue come up last spring season, which was great, and at that time, in our June work session meeting, Mr. Tillett and some of the central office staff came to our board and said, look, we've really crunched the numbers. We all know across the country, we're trying to look at every penny that we spend. And being good stewards of the school system, those charter buses that we use to send students to the state games are expensive. And when you're looking to send 4 potential teams at one time, that's extra expensive. And when we started that tradition years ago, it was a different time for us. We had older school buses that didn't have air conditioning. They could only go a certain speed on the interstate. And when they came back to us and we talked about it in June, they said, look, we have a fleet of new buses that have AC that can drive the speed limit on the interstate, because that's one of the first questions we asked. And they said, yes, they can go the speed limit. So we made the decision as a board to change the policy that for even state athletic competitions that a Poquoson school bus will be used. It's the same policy that York, the same policy that all of our neighboring school divisions have. So I did get a few phone calls from some parents, which is always great. Always, reach out to the school, call the board. That's what we're here for. And as soon as I explained the rationale of why we made the decision, everybody completely understood. But the other thing, the one caveat that I might get shot for saying is parents, if community members, if you really want to pay to send those students and those athletes on a charter bus, then pass the hat. It's fine to do that, absolutely fine. I would just defer against putting it on social media, but we can do it that way. So just wanted to make sure that we are completely open and transparent and honest with our community. That's why we made the decision. And I will also say this one, I'm going to ease over here. If the entire community, if you're against this, if you feel like it needs to be revisited, we're always open and welcome and happy to hear your public comments. So please come speak to us if you disagree with it. So that's my comment. Other than that, Ms. McKay, do we have any material for board review?
Oh, ma'am.
Perfect, thank you. So I'm going to adjourn us. We have both a work session and a closed session, but you'll have a great Thanksgiving and a good half day tomorrow.